Now, you probably already have your favourite character from The Lion King, whether it's the wisecracking meerkat Timon or Simba's evil Uncle Scar. Well, we caught up with the cast of the London production of The Lion King to get their thoughts on the characters they bring to life on stage.
In the story, Rafiki, where she comes in, basically, she's the one who opens Simba's eyes to become the man that he's meant to be, to take his rightful king position. Well, Rafiki is a Sangoma. That's how we call them in South Africa. Sangomas, they are more like traditional healers. They are very much trusted by the community. They can see the past and they can see the future.
It was really the brilliance of Julie Taymor in going to the stage, where she said, we could take Rafiki, make it a female character, give her the narrative voice in the show. She calls us together when the show starts, and she connects with us in the journey as a Sangoma following this tale.
She's the one who can communicate directly with the story. She's overseeing it, and she's the seer. Rafiki is a character that feels through her fingers and her feet the vibrations of nature.
She's a very, very wise baboon, and she's very, very funny. But you see her where she has to be serious as well, telling Simba to say, hey, wake up, you are a king, and remember who you are.
Mufasa is extremely powerful, but at the same time, extremely tender. He understands people and the kingdom, and he's very spiritual. Everything that he does is steeped in tradition.
You can tell he's such a terrific king because he's such a terrific father. And he's taking the time to explain life and what it's like to be a king and what it's like to be a man to his young son.
He represents everything in our story to begin with in nature that is right, that is perfect, that is about balance and is about order.
All the world is in balance under Mufasa. He's a true and just and right leader, but his life is cut short through villainy, through treachery. We lose Mufasa, and then everything goes wrong.
There's a desperateness to kind of teach Simba as much as possible because he knows his time is short.
So Mufasa, both in his physical presence and in his spiritual presence, is really the guiding force of the entire drama.
He has a loving and caring dad in Mufasa, who also happens to be king. Well, disaster strikes, and he has to go it alone, and he leaves. He's lost both physically and spiritually.
When the character of Simba gets introduced to the show, it's all about him being prepared to becoming king. You hear the phrase restless wanderer and can you feel the love tonight, don't you? It's a good way to describe him.
Bit by bit, he realizes that he is not in the right place, he is not fulfilling his destiny, and is reminded of that in spectacular fashion by the arrival of Nala and by circumstances that occur in the second act. Does he realize that he has to go home and face the past?
Only when he does that, then he can fulfill his place as king.
Nala is the youngest female member of the royal family of the Lion King. I just love her character because she's so strong. Nala just embodies female empowerment and what it means to be a strong leader and a strong woman.
Nala is one of the most important characters in the stage show, and of course, it's a much bigger part in the stage show than it was in the movie.
Things under Scar fall into disrepair and nature is thrown off balance, off kilter. And Nala realizes that somebody from the Pride needs to go into the outside world and bring back or send back something that is going to actually help to save her people.
So Nala acts as a catalyst. She is responsible for supporting and driving Simba to finally make that decision to come back home and join her in the fight to overthrow Scar and reclaim their kingdom.
Scar is the younger brother of Mufasa. When Simba's born, he becomes the second in line to the throne. He decides then to take matters into his own hand. He can't rely on his strength, he has to rely on his mental agility. There must have been something in younger days to form his sense of entitlement, his sense of inadequacy, being compared to Mufasa.
I secretly think that Scar is everyone's favorite character, but he is very complex, just as his mask implies. His mask has many facets to it and angles to it. It looks dangerous, it's spiky, just like he is.
Every scene we see Mufasa in during the course of The Lion King, he is doing something to make those around him better and to improve them. Every scene in which we see Scar in, he is doing something to make the situation better for himself.
All the great stories in history have great antagonists, and I think Scar is definitely one of the best.
Zazu he's basically the Secretary of State for the Pride Lands and for the royal family. He's Mufasa's advisor, he's his right-hand man. His main job is to fly around the Pride Lands and make sure that the balance of nature is not being shifted.
Everything is done by the book, or it drives Zazu mad. So following some kids around, if he ever has to go and watch the kids for an afternoon, you can imagine that it would drive him a bit crazy.
He has an incredibly long beak, which gives him the ability to assume a superiority and look down that beak, if you will, at everybody else in our play.
When Zazu has really had enough, he's had enough of Scar, he's had enough of the young Simba, he can be quite cutting in some of his lines, and that's always fun to play.
Well, Timon and Pumbaa's relationship with Simba is paternal.
Yes. And also good pals.
Yeah, that's right. They come across Simba when he's really young, and when he finds Simba, this is probably not a mate or a cute little friend to have. It's a big, powerful lion in the future that's going to be able to protect me and Pumbaa.
Their attitude towards life is don't work very hard. And that's not exactly what a future king should be sort of taking on as his mantra, right? But it's what Simba needs at the time.
They introduced Simba to the philosophy of Hakuna Matata.
No worries.
Yeah, which is great when he's young, but maybe not so great when he's hiding things, his past.
They've set an example for terrible behavior, but then when they watch Simba become a hero, they realize they too can join in and be heroes in their own right.